Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's date is March 17th, 2024, and I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. We're going to be talking about this Israel and Gaza war. And primarily here, we're going to be talking about the pushback that Benjamin Netanyahu is receiving here regarding this upcoming Rafah invasion. Okay, so Rafah is the southernmost city in the Gaza Strip. It's one of the last remaining cities that Israel has not pushed into to take out Hamas. And they can't really go in right now because there's upwards of 1.4 million Palestinian civilians still there. So we're going to be talking about that invasion here coming up, okay? And this woman on your screen here is Ursula von der Leyen. Okay, she is the EU president, and she recently came out in a conference today and said that the Rafah invasion must be avoided at all costs. Okay, so the EU is definitely pushing back on Israel, and they're trying their best to get a ceasefire deal here because they don't want Israel to move into Rafah because they know it's going to be a bloodbath. Okay, there's going to be lots of innocent people that are going to be killed here. We've got almost 32,000 innocent civilians that have been killed in the Gaza Strip up until today, since the war began in October. And they're trying their best here to get a ceasefire deal and end this war. And Benjamin Netanyahu has come out many times, and we're going to be talking about that here in an article, that they're not going to step down to any international pressure, okay? And they're going to go into Rafah and complete their goals of eliminating Hamas here, okay? Because they don't want to deal with Hamas here on the Gaza Strip anymore. They don't want them to pose a threat to Israel ever again. Okay, so due to this, they're going to go into Rafah, is what he said. They will launch an operation into Rafah, but first, right now, what they're trying to do is get the innocent people out. They have plans here to create what are called humanitarian islands inside of Gaza. They're going to move them into the center of Gaza and get them away from the southern portion of Rafah, so that way they can operate and engage with Hamas. So I have an article here from the BBC. Let me show you this here. Netanyahu vows to defy allies on Rafah invasion. Okay, so he's going against everybody, all his allies, and saying, you know what? We don't care what anybody says. We are going into Rafah and we will operate. Okay, so it says here the city is crammed with some 1.5 million Palestinians from other parts of Gaza seeking refuge. His comments come as the German chancellor on a Middle East trip restated his opposition to the plan. But Mr. Netanyahu said, no international pressure will stop Israel from achieving all its war aims. If we stop the war now before achieving all of its goals, the meaning is that Israel will had lost the war, and we will not allow this, Mr. Netanyahu told a meeting of his cabinet. So he doesn't want as well to claim that Israel lost this war, because if they leave Hamas there, Hamas will just regrow and attack them again, and that's what he's concerned with. So he said Israel must be able to continue its war with the aims of eliminating Hamas, releasing all hostages, and ensuring Gaza no longer poses a threat. To do this, we will also operate in Rafah. Mr. Netanyahu said the offensive in the city at the southern tip of the Gaza Strip will happen and will take several weeks. Okay, so that's what they're saying here. Several weeks of operating in Rafah once they get these people out of here. He also lashed out at his critics, saying to them, is your memory so short? So quickly you forgot about October 7th, the worst massacre committed against Jews since the Holocaust. Those attacks, in which about 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 were taken hostage from Israel, sparked the current war. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says more than 31,400 people have been killed, so almost 32,000 people. And obviously that's what the EU is more concerned with. The United States is more concerned about that. They don't want more innocent people being killed here, because they're also worried that what will happen here is it will cause more chaos in the Middle East and make it difficult to create peace, okay? And that's what's very scary here is that we could have an explosion of chaos and violence throughout the Middle East due to this war in Gaza, which is already starting to cause that. So the Israeli leader is due to meet German Chancellor Olaf Scholz later on Sunday, who is expected to repeat his warning against a Rafah operation. Speaking to reporters in Jordan, Mr. Scholz said a large number of casualties in such an offensive could destroy any hope for peace. So just like I was mentioning, that's what German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said here. And that's another reason why, again, they don't want Israel to operate in Rafah, because too many innocent people will be killed here. But I will have to see what's going to happen. But as far as I know here, Israel's going in, okay? They're going into Rafah. So Israel's plans have been heavily criticized by the international community, with the UN and US also warning that a full-scale assault on Rafah could be disastrous. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the head of the UN's World Health Organization, on Friday appealed to Israel in the name of humanity not to launch such an attack on Gaza's southernmost city. So even the head of the UN World Health Organization, he's even coming out and warning against this too. Please don't do this. So US President Biden has warned Israel against expanding its invasion into the city, calling it a red line. Nevertheless, Mr. Netanyahu's office approved plans for a military operation in Rafah on Friday, adding that the army was preparing for an evacuation of civilians. So I reported on this just a couple of days ago when Netanyahu approved the plans for the Rafah operation. So 100% they're going in here. Here's a map. Okay, so as you can see here on this map, all these red areas are where a lot of the fighting has taken place and basically is controlled by the IDF. Okay, and these are zones that the IDF told the civilians to evacuate out of there. So look, they really don't have anywhere to go. Maybe here in the center, and I think this is where they plan to do these humanitarian islands in Deir al-Balah. But Rafah is where a majority of them are at, okay? So throughout this entire Gaza Strip here, there was about 2.3 million civilians. And as the war progressed, they started here in the north and worked their way down. They told all the civilians to head down to Rafah. So now they're here. Majority of them are here in Rafah, and it's one of the last cities that the IDF wants to move into and engage with Hamas here. So they got to get them out of here and move them up here to the center, which is what their plan is. So the Israeli Defense Forces said it planned to move displaced Palestinians into Gaza to what is called humanitarian islands in the middle of the strip. It is not clear what the islands will look like or how they will operate. So, like I said, that's their plan there. In my last video, when we talked about this, I wasn't sure exactly how they were planning to get these people out of here, but they're talking about humanitarian islands here. So we'll have to see. Maybe more information will come out and we'll find out exactly what those are. Speaking in Jordan, Mr. Scholz referenced the need for a truce that lasts longer. Ceasefire talks were expected to resume in Qatar in the coming days. Israel had planned to send a delegation to join the negotiations, but ministers were yet to agree on its mandate. Israel has faced mounting criticism for the number of civilian casualties in Gaza, as well as shortages of aid that have fueled fears of famine. On Thursday, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called for Israel to hold elections to replace Netanyahu. I reported on this too. I think I did a short on that, where Chuck Schumer, U.S. Senate Majority Leader, came out and he was calling for the Israelis to hold new elections to remove Netanyahu, basically, because they're trying to do whatever they can to prevent this Rafah invasion, as I've said. And Netanyahu he doesn't care what anybody says. He's willing to go into Rafah regardless. The Prime Minister slammed the comments as totally inappropriate and said they should be working instead to bring down the Hamas tyranny. So he's basically saying you guys should be siding with us and not being against us, because don't you remember that we were attacked? Don't you remember all these people that were killed by the Hamas organization here? So, obviously this is a two-sided thing here. There's one side that's like, no, we need to destroy Hamas. And then the other side, which is the US and EU and all these supporting members here, they're completely against it, okay? And it's majority of it is due to the civilians that are there, and they don't want these civilians to be killed. So definitely we're at a very tense spot here, and I think no matter which way this goes, this is going to end very badly because uh, Netanyahu doesn't want to end this war in Gaza, at least not yet. And the West wants him to end it now. They want a ceasefire deal now and him not to go into Rafah. So either way this goes, this is going to be like a nasty play out here. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm sure more information is going to come out, but I wanted to give you the latest here on what's going on. But as far as we know, any day now, the Rafah invasion could commence here. Okay, but first they're going to be trying to get these people out here, so it may take a few more weeks. We'll see. But it all depends on what happens over there and what Netanyahu decides to do. So let me know what you think down below. Comment your thoughts. And if you got something out of this video, please smash the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in for this update. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.